The fruit athletes have been eating every single day, and most people still underestimate it. There is a fruit sitting in kitchens all over the world right now. It costs less than $1. It requires no preparation, no cooking, no cutting, no special storage. You can carry it in a bag, eat it on the way to work, hand it to a child running out the door, or reach for it at any moment of the day. And yet, despite how ordinary it looks, despite how familiar it feels, the majority of people who eat this fruit every single day have absolutely no idea what it is actually doing inside their body in the hours after they consume it. I am talking about the banana, and I am Dr. John Carter. Today I want to have a genuinely different conversation about this fruit, not the surface-level version you have heard before, not a simple list of nutrients read off a label. I want to take you inside the biology. I want to explain what actually happens at the cellular level when you eat a banana regularly, why elite athletes across virtually every sport make this fruit a non-negotiable part of their daily nutrition, and why the science behind 5 specific health benefits is considerably more compelling than most people realize. If you have been eating bananas casually, without understanding what they are doing for you, that is about to change. And if you have been skipping them or dismissing them as just another piece of fruit, by the time we reach the end of this conversation, I think your perspective will be different. Let us go through each benefit in depth, one at a time. Benefit number 1, bananas provide your body with clean, sustained natural energy and actively combat fatigue at the cellular level. If you find yourself reaching for coffee as the first thing every morning, or dragging through the mid-afternoon hours with your energy levels somewhere near the floor, or relying on sugary snacks to push through the second half of a long day, I want you to pay close attention to this section. Fatigue is one of the most common complaints among adults of all ages and one of the most frequently misunderstood. Most people respond to low energy by consuming stimulants or high-sugar processed foods. And while those products produce a temporary lift, the mechanism behind that lift creates an inevitable and often steep energy crash shortly afterward. The brief spike in blood glucose triggers a rapid insulin response. Blood sugar falls quickly, and you find yourself more tired than you were before. Bananas operate through an entirely different mechanism. A medium banana contains approximately 25 to 27 grams of carbohydrate delivered in 3 distinct forms. Glucose, which enters the bloodstream relatively quickly and provides an initial supply of usable energy. Fructose, which is processed more slowly through the liver and provides a more extended and gradual energy release. And sucrose, a compound sugar that breaks down into both glucose and fructose during digestion, contributing to both the immediate and the sustained energy windows. This combination of 3 different carbohydrate forms means that eating a banana does not produce a single sharp energy spike followed by a crash. It produces a layered release. An initial lift, followed by a prolonged and more stable period of available energy. That is the fundamental reason why athletes across every major sport, from marathon runners to basketball players to cyclists competing in multi-stage races, consistently reach for bananas before, during, and after physical effort. But the carbohydrate profile is only part of the energy story. Bananas are an excellent source of vitamin B6, a nutrient that plays an absolutely essential role in the biochemical process of converting dietary carbohydrates into adenosine triphosphate, which is the molecule your cells actually use as fuel. Think of B6 as the enzyme that helps your body's energy factory run at full efficiency. Without adequate B6, even a diet rich in carbohydrates cannot be efficiently converted into the cellular energy your muscles and brain require to function optimally. The combination of these factors is precisely why a banana consumed before a period of physical or mental demand can outperform most commercially marketed energy products. It provides multiple forms of carbohydrate for layered energy delivery. B6, to support the conversion of that carbohydrate into usable cellular fuel. And it does all of this without the artificial stimulants, excessive caffeine, added sugars, or synthetic compounds found in the products that line the shelves of every convenience store. If you are someone who wakes up feeling unrested or who experiences energy fluctuations throughout the day that interfere with your productivity, adding a banana to your morning routine is one of the simplest, most physiologically grounded changes you can make. It is not a dramatic intervention, but the compound effect of providing your body with clean, naturally structured fuel every single day, rather than subjecting it to the constant cycle of stimulant-driven spikes and crashes, is meaningful over weeks and months. Benefit number 2. Bananas actively support heart health and help regulate blood pressure through a mechanism that most people have never had properly explained to them. Cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death across most of the developed world, and while the conversation about heart health often centers on cholesterol, dietary fat, and exercise, there is a mineral that plays a profoundly important role in cardiovascular function and is chronically deficient in the diet of the average adult. That mineral is potassium. A single medium banana provides approximately 400 to 450 milligrams of potassium. The daily recommended intake for most adults is around 3,500 to 4,700 milligrams, and research consistently shows that the majority of people in Western countries consume considerably less than that. To understand why this matters for your heart, you need to understand the relationship between potassium and sodium at the cellular level. Every cell in your body maintains a careful balance between sodium on the outside and potassium on the inside, regulated by a mechanism called the sodium-potassium pump. This pump is responsible for maintaining the electrical gradients that allow your cells, particularly your heart muscle cells and the cells lining your blood vessel walls, to function properly. When dietary sodium is excessive, which is almost universally true for anyone consuming a diet that includes processed foods, restaurant meals, canned goods, or packaged snacks, the body's sodium-potassium balance is chronically disrupted. Excess sodium causes the body to retain water in the bloodstream, which increases the volume of fluid the heart must pump and raises pressure within the arterial system. Over years, that sustained elevated pressure damages the delicate inner lining of the arteries, the endothelium, and accelerates the development of arterial stiffness and plaque accumulation. Potassium counteracts this process through several mechanisms simultaneously. It supports the kidneys in excreting excess sodium through the urine, directly reducing the body's sodium burden. It promotes relaxation of the smooth muscle in arterial walls, allowing vessels to dilate and reducing peripheral resistance, which is one of the key determinants of blood pressure. And it supports the normal electrical conduction system of the heart, which regulates the rhythm and coordination of cardiac contractions. In practical terms, this means that consistent, adequate potassium intake through dietary sources like bananas contributes to healthier blood pressure, reduced arterial stiffness, better cardiovascular efficiency, and a lower long-term risk of the hypertension that underlies the majority of heart attacks and strokes. Bananas also contain a modest but meaningful amount of magnesium, another mineral involved in cardiovascular function, as well as small amounts of heart-supportive antioxidants, including dopamine and catechins, plant compounds associated with reduced oxidative stress in cardiovascular tissue. The heart health argument for regular banana consumption is not built on a single dramatic mechanism. It is built on the cumulative effect of consistent, adequate delivery of minerals and compounds that your cardiovascular system requires to function well, provided in a form that is absorbed efficiently and without the negative consequences of many pharmaceutical alternatives. Benefit number 3. Bananas improve digestive function and support the gut microbiome in ways that affect your health far beyond the digestive system itself. The relationship between gut health and overall health is one of the most rapidly developing areas of modern medicine. Research over the past 2 decades has progressively revealed that the community of microorganisms living in your digestive tract, collectively called the gut microbiome, influences not only your digestion, but your immune system function, your inflammatory response, your mental health, your metabolic efficiency, and even aspects of your cognitive performance. Bananas contribute to gut health through 2 primary mechanisms, and they are meaningfully different from each other. The first is their dietary fiber content. A medium banana provides approximately 3 grams of dietary fiber, including a type called pectin. Pectin is a soluble fiber that forms a gel-like substance when it contacts water in the digestive tract. This gel slows the movement of food through the upper digestive system, which has several important consequences. It moderates the rate at which sugars are absorbed into the bloodstream, helping to prevent sharp glucose spikes after eating. It provides bulk that stimulates the muscular contractions of the intestinal wall, responsible for moving food and waste through the system. And it traps water in the stool, softening it and making elimination easier and more regular. This is why bananas have long been recommended as a gentle and effective dietary intervention for both constipation and for certain types of digestive discomfort. They support transit and regularity without the harsh or unpredictable effects of many commercial laxative products. The second mechanism is more significant from a systemic health perspective, and it is most pronounced in bananas that are less fully ripe. Unripe or slightly underripe bananas are particularly rich in a compound called resistant starch. Resistant starch is a form of carbohydrate that the human digestive enzymes in the small intestine cannot break down. It passes through the upper digestive system intact and reaches the large intestine where the gut microbiome resides. There, resistant starch functions as a prebiotic, providing direct nutritional support for the beneficial bacterial species that populate the colon. When these bacteria ferment resistant starch, they produce short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate, propionate, and acetate. These short-chain fatty acids are the primary energy source for the cells lining the colon wall, playing a critical role in maintaining the structural integrity of the gut lining. They also have measurable anti-inflammatory effects throughout the body, influence appetite-regulating hormones, and appear to support healthy insulin sensitivity. The practical implication is this: the riper the banana, the more its resistant starch has been converted to simple sugars through the ripening process, and the less prebiotic effect it delivers. A banana that is fully yellow or beginning to develop brown spots provides a faster, more easily absorbed energy source. A banana that is still slightly firm and yellow-green provides more resistant starch for gut microbiome support. Neither is better in an absolute sense. They simply offer somewhat different nutritional profiles and can be chosen based on what you need at a given time. Bananas are also notable for their relative gentleness on the digestive system. The combination of soluble fiber, moderate natural sugar content, and near-neutral pH makes them one of the few fruits consistently well tolerated even during periods of digestive sensitivity, intestinal upset, or recovery from illness. They are not inflammatory, not acidic, and not harsh in any physiological sense. Benefit number 4. Bananas support muscle recovery, reduce the frequency and severity of cramps, and help maintain the physical performance that is critical to long-term health and independence. For anyone who exercises regularly, experiences muscle cramps or tightness, or is working to maintain physical strength and mobility as they age, this is perhaps the most immediately practical benefit on this list. Your muscles function through a tightly coordinated process of electrical signaling. When a nerve signal reaches a muscle fiber, it triggers a rapid exchange of electrolytes across the muscle cell membrane. Sodium flows in, potassium flows out, and this exchange generates the electrical event that causes the muscle to contract. When the signal ends, the sodium-potassium pump restores the balance and the muscle relaxes. For this process to work correctly, your body must maintain adequate concentrations of key electrolytes in the bloodstream and tissues at all times. The primary electrolytes involved in muscle function are potassium, magnesium, sodium, and calcium. When any of these fall below the levels required for normal cellular function, the coordination of muscle contraction and relaxation is disrupted. The result is the involuntary, sustained contraction we experience as a cramp. Bananas address 2 of the 4 primary electrolytes simultaneously. As already discussed, they are a meaningful source of potassium, and they also contain magnesium, which plays a particularly important role in muscle relaxation. Magnesium is required for the sodium-potassium pump to function effectively, and it directly inhibits the calcium channels that drive sustained muscle contraction. Low magnesium is one of the most consistent biochemical findings in people who experience frequent or severe muscle cramps, and it is also one of the most common nutritional deficiencies in adults who do not consistently consume magnesium-rich foods. The carbohydrate content of bananas contributes to muscle recovery through a separate but equally important mechanism. During moderate to intense physical exercise, your muscles burn through their stored glycogen, the form in which carbohydrate energy is stored in muscle tissue, at a significant rate. When glycogen stores are depleted, fatigue accumulates rapidly and performance declines. Consuming carbohydrates in the period following exercise initiates the process of glycogen resynthesis, restoring the energy reserves that the muscles will need for their next period of activity. The combination of a rapidly available carbohydrate source with potassium and magnesium makes a banana one of the most physiologically complete post-exercise recovery foods available. It addresses electrolyte replenishment, glycogen restoration, and the reduction of cramping risk simultaneously. This is not a coincidental combination. It is the reason that the image of an athlete reaching for a banana during a break has become one of the most universal images in professional sport across every discipline. For older adults specifically, maintaining muscle function, electrolyte balance, and the capacity for physical recovery is directly connected to long-term independence, reduced fall risk, and the preservation of the quality of life that comes with being able to move through the world with strength and confidence. Benefit number 5. Bananas support brain health, mood regulation, and cognitive function through several distinct biological pathways. This is the benefit that genuinely surprises most people because bananas are not typically discussed in the context of mental health or neurological function. But the biochemical case is compelling. The most significant pathway involves an amino acid called tryptophan. Tryptophan is an essential amino acid, meaning the body cannot synthesize it on its own and must obtain it from dietary sources. Once absorbed, tryptophan is used as the precursor for the synthesis of serotonin, one of the brain's primary neurotransmitters. Serotonin regulates a wide range of functions in the nervous system, including mood stability, the modulation of anxiety, sleep quality, appetite regulation, and the subjective experience of emotional well-being. The popular description of serotonin as the feel-good chemical is an oversimplification, but it reflects a genuine and well-established relationship between adequate serotonin activity and positive mood and reduced anxiety. Bananas provide a meaningful dietary source of tryptophan, and they also provide vitamin B6, which is a required cofactor in the enzymatic conversion of tryptophan to serotonin. Without adequate B6, the body cannot efficiently complete that conversion, regardless of how much tryptophan is available. The fact that bananas provide both the precursor and the cofactor needed for serotonin synthesis in the same food is nutritionally elegant. Vitamin B6 plays additional and distinct roles in brain health beyond serotonin synthesis. It is involved in the production of dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with motivation, reward, and the drive to engage with tasks and goals. It supports the synthesis of GABA, the brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter, which plays a central role in reducing anxiety and neural excitability. And B6 is required for the metabolism of homocysteine, an amino acid that at elevated levels is associated with increased risk of cognitive decline and neurological damage. Research in nutritional psychiatry, the study of how diet influences mental health outcomes, has consistently found associations between regular consumption of B vitamin-rich foods and reduced rates of depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline, particularly in older adults. While no single food should ever be described as a treatment for a mental health condition, The cumulative effect of consistently providing the brain with the specific nutrients it requires to produce the neurotransmitters that regulate mood and cognition is genuinely meaningful over time. There is also an indirect pathway worth understanding. Stable blood sugar, supported by the layered carbohydrate structure of a banana, as discussed in the first benefit, plays an important role in mood and cognitive function. Significant fluctuations in blood glucose are accompanied by corresponding fluctuations in the availability of glucose to the brain, which depends on a steady supply to maintain concentration, emotional regulation, and mental clarity. The energy stability that bananas provide contributes to the neurological stability that supports consistent mood and cognitive performance. Now, before I close, let me address a question that comes up reliably whenever bananas are discussed in a health context. Are bananas suitable for everyone, or for the vast majority of adults, consuming one banana per day is entirely safe, nutritionally beneficial, and well tolerated? The evidence supporting the health benefits I have described is consistent and applies broadly across the general population. There are two populations who should exercise some additional consideration. The first is individuals with chronic kidney disease. The kidneys are responsible for regulating potassium levels in the blood, and in advanced kidney disease, the kidneys lose their capacity to excrete excess potassium efficiently. In those individuals, dietary potassium intake needs to be managed carefully under medical guidance. If you have a diagnosis of chronic kidney disease or have been advised by your physician to follow a low-potassium diet, speak with your healthcare provider before significantly increasing your banana consumption. The second consideration applies to individuals managing diabetes or insulin resistance who are closely monitoring their carbohydrate and glycemic intake. Bananas, particularly fully ripe ones, do have a moderate glycemic impact. For most people, this is not a concern, but for those with specific blood sugar management goals, the ripeness of the banana and the timing of consumption relative to meals and physical activity may be worth considering in the context of their overall dietary plan. For everyone else, the practical conclusion is straightforward. One banana per day, consumed consistently as part of a balanced diet that includes adequate protein, healthy fats, a variety of vegetables and other fruits, combined with regular physical activity, adequate hydration, and quality sleep, contributes meaningfully to energy, cardiovascular health, digestive function, muscle performance, and neurological and emotional well-being. It is not a supplement. It is not a pharmaceutical. It is a fruit, inexpensive, widely available, requiring no preparation, and backed by a meaningful body of evidence supporting its daily inclusion in a health-conscious diet. The athletes who reach for a banana before a race, the trainers who recommend it for recovery, the nutritionists who build it into daily meal plans, they are not following a trend. They are responding to the consistent evidence that this simple, ordinary-looking fruit does something genuine and measurable for the human body. Now you understand precisely what that is and why. This is Dr. John Carter. Take care of your nutrition. It is the foundation that everything else is built on. I will see you in the next one.